And technology has moved in a big way over the last 25 years. I mean, just think about this conversation that we are having. It's the four of us in different locations, virtually talking to each other over video on a communication and collaboration platform. I don't think anything like this would have been possible a decade back or even 5 to 6 years back. So technology has shifted significantly over the last 25 years. Uh, if I go through that list, that's going to be a long list, but let me pick the top three, four things that I think have that I feel are game changing. I think the first one, closer to when I began my career, was uh, the internet age that started around the early 2000s, 2000 timeframe, where dot coms came in, and that truly shifted the way the world worked. And I think it accelerated with dot com, and then it went on to maturing of distributed computing. Around that time is the time when late 90s, early 2000s, when Java became mainstream and truly we started thinking about web applications. So I think the first big technology change that I think was systemic is everything to do with internet and dot com and everything that happened in the early part of the 20th, 21st century. The second big one I would talk about is mobile connectivity and just the computing power we have on our handheld devices. So right now you have people with different form factor devices, mobiles, laptops, iPads, so on and so forth, with fantastic connectivity. You don't need a wired connection with the improvement in 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G. That's made a big difference in how technology works because you have great technology on your handheld device. Uh, a great example is I was trying to buy a camera for my younger one. And when we go try and find a camera for her, we realized the mobile device that she has and an iPhone has better cameras than most of the normal cameras out there. So that's the kind of computing power you have at your disposal. It's changed everything. It's changed right from how we order food, how you shop, to how you do online banking, and I think in all aspects of the world. So I think that second one's really important. Tied to the first two of internet, mobile connectivity, uh, and just computing capability, I think the third big one that ties to it is everything becoming 24/7. So we are living in a truly globally connected world, and the 24/7 nature of our business has changed how we design applications, how we support applications. It's led to development of trends like agile development, DevOps, SRE, cloud computing, and I think that's the third big systemic change. I think the fourth and the last big point I would say is everything around data, ML, and AI. Uh, there's huge amount of data being generated that has never been done before earlier in our lifetime. So there are some data points for us to think about. There are more than 8 billion searches that happen on Google every day. There are more than 500,000 stories uploaded on Instagram every day. You spend millions of hours doing, folks spend millions of hours doing watching Netflix videos, for example, as well as the number of in our banking space. I was reading just for India, just in quarter 2, more than 20 billion online transactions were done by just for India in our banking system in quarter 2 of last year. I think that's the fourth big systemic changes. There's a lot more, but these are the four I'd call out. For a developer, I think this is a great time to be. I'll handle the one that is top of mind of all developers, and I think that will continue to revolutionize how developers work, which is everything around AI solutions for developers. AI has truly hit mainstream. We all know about ChatGPT and everything that OpenAI is doing through development of large language models, and all other organizations are now getting into this space. I think for a developer, there's great innovation here through things like I mentioned, ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot, and a lot of other solutions that will accelerate a developer's ability to write code using AI-based pair programming. This space will only accelerate in the future. And what it means for a developer is a lot of the boilerplate code that we have to write will actually be accelerated through machine-based, AI-based pair programming, which means as developers, we can truly focus on the functional aspects of what we have to do. So I think that's the first big change. The second I would say is we would continue to see maturing as well as acceleration of some of the new technologies that have come in and are still at various levels of maturity. Uh, Things like AR, VR, blockchain, all of those capabilities will mature over the next couple of years, over the next decade, and open new avenues for developers. I think a lot of maturity will come in the space of quantum computing as well, as it becomes more and more mainstream for more specific use cases, especially in our financial services space, which will make it a really important area for developers. And finally, I would say if you are a developer, as all of this comes in, what is key for you is two things. One, you continue to sharpen your functional sort, so to say, your functional skills, which means you continue to understand how these technologies impact your life as a developer. But secondly, and more importantly, is continue to understand the space in which you work. Contextualizing these changes and leveraging them for the domain in which you work will make a developer really successful. So I think these are some of the top technology things that I think will impact a developer's role in the trend. So I started my career as a software engineer. And in the last couple of decades, I've had the opportunity to work more both on the application side and the infrastructure side of from as a software engineer. And then I progressed in my career becoming a software engineering manager, managing large scale enterprise scales, applications and teams. Uh, During the course of my career, I had the opportunity to work as a developer, as a software engineer, as well a fantastic opportunity to work with really world-class developers. Certain things in Drinil, I think, are key, whether you are at early stage or more mid-stage. It's essentially areas like ability to do problem solving, analytical skills, clarity of communication, so on and so forth. Developers focus a lot on the language they know, but really the syntax of your code is never really important. It's really your ability to solve a problem, optimize the solution, explain the logic, reduce the complexity, make your code readable, entropy. You can't make it entropy free, reduce the entropy. I think all of that's important. As you start working in teams and as you start to grow more senior, the ability to effectively work in teams, in your Scrum team or your Agile Kanban teams with your product owners becomes really important. I think the one big difference between early stage developers and someone more mid career stages, the ability to understand your domain. As you start to mature in your career, the expectation is as a developer, you obviously are polyglot or at least have T-based skills, which means you have depth in your specific area plus a broader understanding of the larger space. And this T and Pi is Pi skills. I mean, all of that is evolving. But along with understanding technically your area, what becomes really important as you become mid to later stage is your ability to understand the domain in which you work. So start to develop specialization in specific domains so that you can add more value as a developer. So I think that's the, if you are a developer, I would say the top 3 things that you should focus on is be deeply technical, because I think that's par for the course. Second is know your domain. That becomes really important as you grow in your career. And finally, have the ability to articulate, communicate, and influence in larger groups. As you grow more senior in your career, that skill becomes really, really important. Software engineering developer lens, I think the most exciting prospect about the future, I can encapsulate Indranil in two words, which is possibilities and potential. Software written by a mix of machines and human developers, because that's where the future is going to be everywhere. At this point, I can't think of a domain where tech and software isn't core. From financial services to healthcare and biotech, from self-driving cars to taking humans from moon to Mars, it's all tech driven by software. AI, blockchain, AR, VR, 5G, Internet of Things, just everything around data and cybersecurity, everything pivots around software. And from a developer standpoint, our ability to solve for the complex problems that lie in the most elegant way possible. I think these systemic trends are going to open up new exciting opportunities for software developers, and not just software developers, anyone in the STEM space, I would say. And it is a great time to be a developer, and that's why I think our ability to make a positive, responsible change in the globally connected world is just tremendous in the future.